I know what you wanted when you clicked on the video. Don't worry, I'm only going to do a quick intro and then we're going to hop into it. I promise. But first things first, hi, my name is Glory and I crochet stuffed animals for a living. Now, today, of course, I'm going to bring out the guest of honor. Isn't she so cute? Today I'm going to teach you how to make your own tiny Pinata Llama from start to finish as per usual. Well, this may not be really usual because this is my second YouTube tutorial on my channel, but you know what I mean. Anyways, I'm going to answer a couple of quick questions before we get started because you may still have questions. Number one, Glory, how big is the finished project? Pinata Llama measures around 4 inches tall, 2.5 inches wide, and 2.5 inches long. I will translate that to centimeters over here. I can't do it on the top of my head. I'm so sorry. Number two, Gloria, I'm an absolute beginner. Can I do this project as my first project? I hate to break it to you, but I don't recommend Pinata Llama as your first project. There are a lot of techniques that we do throughout the pattern that I do expect you to know as a crocheter to begin with. However, I do think that this is good for a beginner that's crocheted 1 or 2 or 3 projects already. Number 3, Glory, I don't have a lot of yarn. Can I just use the scraps? Yes. This uses up a lot. I used the scraps from my scrap basket. It didn't use up a whole bunch. You can use the scraps of your scrap basket. This project doesn't really take a lot of yarn. When I say it's tiny, I mean that. Number 4, Glory, how long is it gonna take me to crochet? Well, I'm actually glad you asked. I'm gonna break it down for you based on skill level. If you are a beginner, I'm assuming that you've made a handful of projects, probably around 5 or less. So it's probably gonna take you about 1 to 2 hours, maybe 3 max. If you are a medium crocheter, then I'm assuming it's probably going to take you about an hour and a half to 45 minutes. 45 minutes to an hour and a half, if you say. And if you are an advanced crocheter, for me personally, it only takes me 30 to 45 minutes. So do with that as you will. The point is, this is a quick project. So if you are making this Pinata Llama for someone's birthday tomorrow, then today, don't worry, you will be able to finish this plushie. But if you are doing that, I cannot believe you waited till last minute to make your friend a birthday gift. I'm not gonna judge you, not in this video anyways. Number 5. Glory, I like to sell my crochet plushies. Can I sell this plushie? Yes, you may. Just remember to credit me if you're selling it online. If other people want to make this pattern, who are they going to call? Ghostbusters? Exactly. Number 6, I want to have the pattern as a PDF or print it out on a sheet. Is that available? Yes, it is. The pattern is available in my description as just a base pattern by itself. If you don't want to watch the video or you want to look at the pattern as you're watching the video, go ahead. The pattern is literally in the description for free. Do whatever you see fit to it, except sell it. Do not sell the product and claim it as your own. Number 7, Glory, I don't have fluffy yarn. Can I use acrylic yarn instead? Yes, you can. You can use any yarn. All of my projects I make in a way where anyone can use any yarn and it will come out in the exact same way that I make it. I'm gonna hand it over to Glory. She'll get you covered with the rest. Okay guys, grab main color or white in this example and chain 2 or make a magic ring and single crochet 6 in either the magic ring or the second chain away from hook. I'm gonna bring my screen closer to you so that if you are a beginner, you can see exactly what I mean when I say chain 2. I'm simply going to chain 2, and then in that second chain away from your hook, you are gonna do 1 single crochet. And then you're gonna stick your hook in that same chain and do another single crochet. And you're gonna do 6 single crochets in that same chain. Until you have 6. That's the ear, guys. That's it. Fasten off and set aside for later. I want us to start with the ears first, because if you start with the ears, then you can't not make this project, because nobody leaves just 2 ears hanging around with no head to stick them on. Make 2 ears and then set them aside for later. Now we're gonna work on the body. We're gonna grab color 1, which should be cream, or your adjacent to that. Following the same steps that we did earlier, we are going to chain 2, make a magic ring, and single crochet 8 into that magic ring. All right, you should have 8 stitches. Round 1, you are going to increase 8 times. And for my crocheters that are new, you're simply going to single crochet 2 stitches in the same stitch. That is an increase. Okay, round 2 is complete. We're gonna move on to round 3. So if you have it at hand, make sure to grab your mustard colored yarn, or color 2, or any color that you wanna use for the legs. I'm gonna set that over here. Okay, for round 3, first with color 1, you are going to increase in the first stitch. Single crochet in the next stitch. Increase in the next stitch. And then with color 2, you are going to bobble stitch. For a bobble stitch, you're going to yarn over, stick your hook into the loop stitch, yarn over again and drop a loop. Yarn over and draw through 2 of those loops. Now repeat that until you have 6 loops on your hook. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then yarn over. We're not going to yarn over in color 2. We're going to yarn over in color 1 because we're going to switch colors. You're going to yarn over and then draw through all 6. There you go. Repeat that whole section 3 more times. So increase. that is round 2. You can break color 2 now. We're not going to be using color mustard from now on, forever and ever. Amen. Now, let's continue to round 3. Round 3 is pretty simple. With color 1, you're just going to single crochet in each stitch. Okay, round 3 is done. Now with round 4, with main color now, we're going to single crochet in each stitch. We don't need cream anymore, forever and ever, amen. Cut that off and set that aside because we won't be using that anymore in this part of the pattern. Now, attach the color cream, and now single crochet in each stitch. You should have 24 stitches in total. I just realized, and I also forgot to mention, that this pattern is 90% no sew. The only things that we're sewing on are the ears to the head, which I don't really think is much in regards to sewing. So if you don't like sewing like me, you're in luck. This pattern has virtually none of it. Round 5, we're gonna start making the pinata textured paper, but with yarn. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna single crochet 2, and then, oh, sorry about that, we're gonna chain 3. You're gonna slip stitch in that second chain away from hook, as well as that final chain. You're gonna repeat this 12 times. So go back into the stitches of the body, single crochet 2, chain 3, sorry, slip stitch 1, 2, and again 10 more times. You should have 48 stitches in total. and I'm gonna see you after we're done with round 5. Okay guys, round 5 is done. You should have some sort of crown shape going on around the perimeter of the body at this point. But don't worry, that crown shape is gonna quickly disappear when we start with round 6. We're gonna single crochet in each stitch. It might seem simple, but I do wanna point out a couple of tips, which is why I'm not leaving you alone to fend for yourself at this moment. In the first two stitches, it's fine. However, when crocheting around the little tassels, do not do this. That is going to cause the tassel to go inside of the piece, and we don't want that. We want them to come and show out. Also, do not do, well, I don't know what other people would do. What I recommend you doing is first place your hook into the next stitch. As you can see, I'm going to bring it up closer. This is the next stitch. Place your hook into the next stitch. Hold the tassel down. It's important that you hold it down so that it stays in that down position. And then single crochet into that next stitch. And it stays down. I'm going to repeat that again, and then I'm going to let you fend on your own. I'm going to single crochet into the next stitch, and then I'm going to place my hook into the next stitch, hold this down. And as you notice, it's actually already doing that when you place your hook into the next stitch. Notice how it's already naturally going down. But make sure to reinforce it by holding it down as well. As you can see, it turns all of this into this. Very nice. And those are the tassels that we want for the pinata. Now continue to single crochet around, and I'm going to see you after we finish round 6. And now that I think about it, I don't know if I made this clear, but do not crochet in any of the 2 slip stitches. Do not crochet in this cluster at all. You're simply going to crochet into this stitch and then the stitch after. This stitch and the stitch after. This stitch and the stitch after. Don't even bother placing your hook into any of this section. I hope that's clear. Okay guys, we're at the end of round 6, and it should look something like this. This is the start to the pinata. At this point, I think you're doing a great job, by the way, if nobody's told you that yet. For round 7 to 9, you are going to repeat rounds 4 to 6. So to make that a little more clear, for rounds 7, 8, and 9, repeat rounds 4, 5, and 6. And then stuff the body. I'm going to see you after those rounds, and I'm going to meet you at the end of round 9. Okay, guys, we are at round 9, the end of it at least. It should be looking something like this. At this point, you should have the base look of the pinata and a good chunk of the body already down. Isn't it looking so cute so far? Okay, now we're on round 10. It's going to be pretty simple. We're just going to decrease 5 times, and then we are going to single crochet 12, and then we're going to decrease 1 more time. For those of you who don't know, I like to do the invisible decrease. You simply stick your hook into, okay, it's a little hard for me to do that all of a sudden. Stick your hook into the front loop, and then stick your hook into the next front loop of the next stitch, like so. Yarn over and draw through both of those front loops. And now pretend that you're finishing off a single crochet, because you are. That is a decrease. So I'm going to do that for 5 times. Single crochet in the next 12 stitches, and then decrease 1 more time. And let me actually count, because I forgot how many decreases I did. I've done 4. Now at this point, guys, I will let you know that we are starting to round off on the body, as in we're gonna finish this off really soon. So after this round, I would recommend if you stuffed a little bit, because round 11 is gonna be a bit of a reconstruction. All right, it's round 10 for you. You should have 18 stitches left at the end of this round. This is what it should look like. Nothing crazy that's changed, but you'll soon see. Now, let me take a moment to grab some more yarn because this is getting a little annoying, to be honest. Okay, round 11. You're gonna start by single crocheting in next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2, and I'm gonna place my stitch marker here because this is quite an important round. Now you're gonna slip stitch in the next stitch. So I'm just gonna go like so. Now, here's where the reconstruction begins. I'm gonna kind of tilt this a little sideways because now we're gonna place our hook in the front loop of the next stitch, as well as the front loop of the previous stitch. Let me bring this a little closer so I can show you. So this is the next stitch of the round, and then this is the stitch that we just finished. This is the previous stitch. So I'm gonna place my hook in that front loop, just like that. Now we're gonna slip stitch those stitches together. This may be a little difficult, but don't worry, the first one's always the hardest. The second ones will come easier. Now we're gonna do that 3 more times with the remaining 3 pairs. As you can see, if you fold it in half, you'll notice that they all kind of pair up. So we're gonna do that same thing with this next stitch, front loop, and then the first stitch of the round, which is the one on my stitch marker. So front loop of those 2 and slip stitch them together. Like so. I'm gonna do that again. Next front loop of next stitch, and we're gonna do it, this time we're gonna stick our hook into this stitch. And if you want a specific stitch number, this is gonna be the last stitch of round 10 that we're sticking our hook into. Then slip stitch them together. Finally, we're gonna do the next stitch here, and then slip stitch that next stitch. And that's gonna be the 17th stitch of round 10. Slip stitch those together. You should have 9 stitches left amongst your entire body if you weren't able to catch all of the specific stitches in the round. You should have 9. As you can see, we have just closed up half of the body. Now this is where we have to start stuffing. So grab your stuffing and start real quick. Sorry. Anyways, let's see. Now, with now you're able to see that whole process through video, and you may be thinking to yourself, wow, it's not as hard as it seems. However, in my pattern, since you're not able to see a video through paper, I wrote down the specific number of stitches that you have to place your hook into every time you slip stitch, which is the reason why I said that using a stitch marker is very important, because if you were just looking at the pattern and you weren't watching the video, you wouldn't quite be able to tell which stitches you needed to slip stitch together, unless you had your stitch marker to make some good gauge on which stitch is which in terms of how many stitches are left on the round and etc. Okay, now at this point this should flatten up, but if you notice that it's like kind of sticking up at like a 90-degree angle, I would recommend that you just kind of sew it down or overstuff that area. It should generally though just be nice and flat like so. Okay, so now let me turn my work around, because now we're going to work on the remaining 9 stitches of this round that we did not touch. So we are going to place our hook into this next stitch and we're going to single crochet into it. Good job. I'm going to actually remove my stitch marker here because this is no longer going to be the start of our new rounds. We're now going to start working on the neck, so I'm going to place the stitch marker into this stitch. And let's single crochet in the remaining 8 stitches. Okay, good job. That's going to be the end of round 11. Round 12. Now, we're going to place our stitch into that stitch, and that's going to be the start of all new rounds after this one. In the pattern, I say place the hook into the 8th stitch of round 11, and if you had your stitch marker and you're counting, you will notice that this is the 8th stitch of round 11, the previous round. So simply stick your hook into there and bam, now you have a very easy access way, and you'll just keep working around that round, just like that. You may notice that you have a small hole here. Don't worry, you can sew that up later. It won't show too much as long as you don't stuff it a whole bunch. But round 12, you're going to single crochet into that stitch. And then we're going to continue the pinata tassel stuff. So single crochet 2. Chain 3. Slip stitch 2. And repeat that process 3 more times. Because we do have an odd number of stitches now, it's not gonna look, they're not gonna lay super evenly, because instead of an even stitches like we had before with 24, we now have an odd number of stitches, 9, which is not a bad thing, but just keep that in mind. If you're wondering, why does this pinata piece look slightly farther from this pinata piece? Okay. There you go. That's round 12. Rounds 13 to 14 are going to be similar to rounds 4, 5, and 6 that we worked on previously. So you're just going to single crochet around each stitch, making sure to lay these down. And then round 14, you're just going to single crochet around each stitch as well. So I'm going to leave you to this. Round 13 to 14, you're going to single crochet in each stitch. Round 13, making sure that you lay these down as you crochet around the little pinata paper trails. Round 15, you're gonna repeat round 12. And round 16, you're gonna also single crochet in each stitch. So 13, 14, 15, and 16 are things that we've just worked on just now. So I'm gonna leave you to it, and I'm gonna come back at the end of round 16. Hello guys, welcome back. I don't know why I said that. Anyways, I just finished round 16 and I wanted to pop back in because, well, we have to finish the llama. We are almost done. We only have like 7 rounds left. But I promise you it's easier than it looks at this point. This is going to be a great time to stuff the llama's neck. So if you haven't done that, please do so. Now, I think you should be able to stuff it with just your fingers, but if you need to, go ahead and use like a bamboo stick to just stick in and stuff the llama's neck. But if you were tired of doing round 12 where you had to keep doing all these little pinata thingamajigs, well, you're in luck. Because this is the last round that we're ever going to have to do that. Hooray! I know. Now we're going to move on to round 17. We're going to start working on the head now. I wouldn't say we're even working on the neck. So we are going to single crochet. Into the next 5 stitches. Sorry, I forgot to say that for some reason. You're going to single crochet into the next 5 stitches, and then in the front loops only, which we talked about earlier when we were talking about invisible decreasing, in the front loops only, you're going to increase 3 times. So that's 1, next stitch, and then the 3rd. Then you're going to single crochet into the last stitch. Yes, you should have 1 stitch remaining after this. Now you have 12 stitches. Hooray, no more odd number shenanigans. Okay, now we're going to actually start making the head a little bit bigger. So single crochet 4. And then increase, and then single crochet. Repeat the increase single crochet pattern 3 more times. This is really going to help to make the llama really big. Well, in terms of head size anyways. And you should end up with 16 stitches. Oops, I did it way too much. Sorry. I think I already did too many. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hooray. 16 stitches. Now, here comes the easy part. Rounds 19 to 22. So 19, 20, 21, and 22. 4 rounds total. You're going to single crochet in each stitch. I know, I'm giving you a break from doing all of this weird pinata stuff and this and that and the third. So you're going to single crochet in each stitch for a total of 16 stitches. I'm just single crocheting on round 19 to start us off, but I'm actually going to pause here and I'm going to let you work on that on your own, and I'm going to come back to you after round 22. But be excited because after round 22, we are 90% done with the llama's body. So let me transition over once I'm done with round 22. Okay, guys, we are on the final round. You should have a little cute nose that kind of just sticks out like this. Round 23, because of how well our head has developed, we're going to finish this off. This is the last round, guys. Give yourself a round of applause. We're just going to decrease 8 times for a total of 8 stitches. Now, because this is the last round, I'm going to decrease like 3 times first, and then I'm going to take a moment to stuff the head. If you haven't stuffed the head yet, I would say that this is a good time to stuff the head. Okay, now I'm going to finish off the remainder of this round. I don't know about you guys, but this has been quite a doozy of a pattern. We went through the bottom to the top, making the legs and the head, making the arms, ears, mouth, and nose, and everything in between, but we are finally done. Fasten off, and I'm going to, and you are also going to, sew the hole closed. Now, of course, I forgot to fasten off, so let me just pull the string. And if you're not familiar on how to sew a hole closed, don't worry, I'll show you real quick. Simply place the yarn on your needle like so. Then stick your needle into the front loop of every stitch. I think I skipped a stitch, but okay, we're good. Sorry guys, I'm supposed to be like the expert, but I literally wrote this pattern yesterday in real time. So this is kind of new to me too. All right. Then the fun part, you pull. Closes the hole right up. It looks like you actually started crocheting there. Like it looks like you made a magic ring, but you didn't. I'm just gonna sew in those ends and call it a day for the head anyways. If you made it this far, reminder, you did amazing. Give yourself a round of applause. I'm giving you a round of applause. It's important to congratulate yourself for doing hard things because I'm not gonna lie, crocheting can be hard. I know some people say that it's easy, which it can be, but it can also be difficult, especially if you're a beginner. And if you're a beginner and you got this far, congratulations. I'm really proud of you and good job. I'm gonna actually take off my stitch marker. We don't need it anymore. And I know that I usually don't talk about assembly at this point, but since the only assembly is really just sewing on the ears, I figured why not talk about sewing on the ears because everything else is not sewn onto the llama. For the ears, I'm just gonna place one end of the yarn onto my needle. I'm gonna remember to place the ears here. The ears should be placed on round 22. Now I'm gonna place them like right here. So let me just pull and then bam. And then I'll stick my needle to make them super secure. I'm gonna stick my needle through the first stitch, single crochet of the magic ring, and the last stitch, the first and the sixth. Then pull. Then I'm gonna go into it again and stick it anywhere, and then bam, look at that, and ear. And then I'm also gonna weave in this end as well because it's also connected to the magic ring. I'm just gonna like stick it behind in a really close stitch and then just bring it anywhere, you know? There you go. Look at that. You got an ear. How cute is that? Then I'm just gonna stick it anywhere again because if you're anything like me, most of your plushies go to children. And I don't mean in the sense that siblings take it, which has happened multiple times. But I mean in the sense that maybe you also sell your plushies to children. Maybe most of your plushies are gifts for children. You got to make sure, this is the important part, to make sure that the ears are sewn on nice and well. So this is what the ears kind of look like on the side, because a llama's ears are mostly geared towards the back. So I'm going to sew the next ear very close to it. And I'm going to show you real quick, because sewing is not easy. And it's important to know how to sew. So I'm going to show you how I sew the second ear as well. I'm going to place this ear like right here, right on this stitch. So first I'm going to stick my hook through this stitch. I'm actually going to put it in and then place it down like so. There. Then again, like I did with the first ear, I'm going to stick my hook into the first single crochet of the magic circle and the last single crochet of the magic circle, the first and the sixth stitch that we made. Pull through both. Oh, is that a... Okay, good. There. And then stick your hook, needle, sorry, still stuck on crochet terminology. I'm going to stick it anywhere, really. Pull, and then I'm just going to fasten off after I stick it somewhere else. Then for the second side, you are going to take, I accidentally made mine really small when making the ear. Don't do that. But I'm going to work with what I got. Just stick it anywhere, but make sure that it's sticking out and facing you. There. That is crucial to making sure that the ears can stay upward instead of sticking like down or out or anywhere weird like that. Sorry, I don't know what this is. And then stick it anywhere. Just so that it's super secure. And then snip it off. And give yourself another round of applause, because sewing is difficult, guys. And luckily, you got past one of the hardest parts. The ears should stick out somewhere like this, and llama's ears are close together, so they should be a little close together. Don't worry if it's perfect. As you can see, mine are not. I wish they were, but you know what I mean. And that is it. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so that you can really see the llama in all of its glory. Now, here's a little tip. If you want to turn this into a normal llama, try, instead of doing these paper like pinata paper strips, try doing the loop stitch instead. And I'm actually going to pin my sheep tutorial, because I have a loop stitch tutorial in that video. So that just in case maybe you don't want this whole pinata look, you just want it to look more like a llama instead of a pinata, you can use the loop stitch instead of this paper stitch next time. But in the time being, this is what we have. How cute is that? Okay, so you finished the body. Check. Now let's move on to the accessories. These are my favorite parts. I'm going to set that aside for now. And I'm going to bring out my color D. We're not gonna do color 1, color 2, color 3 anymore. We are gonna do color A, color B, color C. So in this case, we're also doing color D. My color D is gonna be Orchid. I think it's a very nice color to work with in terms of the llama, but if you don't want to use Orchid and you want to use pink for the bridle and blue or mint, go ahead and do just that. Now, for the bridle or bridle, I'm not sure how to pronounce that word. It's either it's getting married or it's easy to break. I'm not really sure, but the bridle is the part that goes around the llama like that. That's what we're gonna get as our final piece. Now, honestly, now that I literally just looped it with my fingers, with my yarn, if you wanted to, you could just do what I did, tie off these ends, sew them in, and call it a day. You really could do that if you wanted to. But here's what to do if you would rather crochet it. So I'm gonna leave a long string. And I am going to, first we're going to do the part that goes around the neck. So we're going to chain 14. Oops. Good job. This is pretty simple because now all we have to do is place your hook into the first chain that we worked on and slip stitch into that chain. Now, you should have some sort of circle. We're gonna do the part that goes around the nose. So now instead of chaining 14, chain 16. I have no idea how many chains I've made, so let me count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. 16. Go back into that same stitch and you're going to slip stitch into that as well. Good job. Fasten off. And that is it. That is the bridle. You should, or bridle, I still don't know. You should have a figure 8 type of shape. Not a figure 8, just a number 8. Once you're done. Just like so. And I'm going to show you how to put it on the llama later because the order that you put it on matters quite a bit. But for now, I'm just going to tie these two ends and we're going to cut them off. Now, with this specific yarn, you can't just cut the ends and call it a day, unfortunately, because this yarn, the way that chenille, I still don't know, yarn is made, it is easily frayable, as you can see. Not very fun. However, there is a solution. You're going to have to burn it. So get your lighter and then go and lightly go on those. I don't have a lighter with me right now. I don't want to accidentally burn my camera. So I'm going to do that off camera later. But in the meantime, at least you understand how to make a bridle. So that's going to go across the llama. But I'll show you how to do that later. So with those aside, now we're going to work on the more extensive piece. And when I say extensive, I just mean that it takes longer to make than the bridle. We're going to make the saddle. I'm going to start by using blue. But with the saddle, you can really use any colors that you want, to be honest. And you can do them in any order that you want. As long as the last color that you use is the same color that you used for the bridle bridle, then you are good. I'm going to start, and in my pattern, I actually start with color blue. You're going to chain 8. Sorry, I have to look at the side because I forget my own pattern that I literally wrote yesterday. Anyways, And for this, I'm actually gonna zoom in. Oop, there, hello. Increase in that second chain away from hook, and then single crochet in the next 5 chains. Now we're gonna start working around the foundation chain. Think of it as kind of like doing a magic ring, but a very long magic ring. So you're going to go into the last chain and you're gonna increase twice, or you're gonna single crochet 4 single crochets into that one stitch. You should get something like this. Now you're gonna twist it over and you're gonna crochet on the other side. So we're gonna crochet on this side 1, 2, and notice I'm literally just sticking my hook where the previous stitches were so that I don't get confused on where I'm supposed to hang my hook. So I think I did 5. I don't really know. Okay, yeah, I did 5. Then you're gonna increase once in that final stitch. You should have a very nice looking oval. Good job. We don't need this color anymore, so I'm gonna break this off. This is where you also break your color off, and whoops, made a sudden appearance there. And we're gonna switch colors. I'm gonna switch from blue to mint because I like how the blues go together, but like I said, you do what you feel is best. If you're making this for a birthday gift, maybe use the colors that the recipient likes the most. I think that'd be so cute. Because we're changing colors, I'm actually gonna undo that last stitch and then replace it with this. Okay, the next round 1, we're gonna increase twice in the back loops only. And then in the back loops only, we're gonna single crochet 5. And then we're gonna increase 4 times. And when the pattern states to use front loops or back loops, or honestly, when any pattern states to use front loops or back loops, you have to treat it like Simon says. If Simon doesn't say to go back into using both loops, then don't do it. Simon says to single crochet in the back loops, so that's exactly what you're gonna do. Anyways, you're gonna single crochet the next 5 stitches in the back loops only. I think that's what I did. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait. 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to increase 2 times. Now, if you noticed, I actually increased 3 times instead of 2. That's because I noticed that my stitch count was off. I missed a stitch. As you can see, I did 4, but it looks like in this round, instead of doing 5 single crochets, I only did 4 single crochets. So I added 1 more increase to add 5 total. Sometimes, if you accidentally realize that you missed a stitch, it's okay for you to just add an increase just to make the stitch count from 1 less to 1 more. However, sometimes, like with the llama pattern, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because it can change the entire pattern and positioning with just 1 stitch that's added. So it really depends. Now, next color is bubblegum pink. or color C in the pattern. I'm going to grab my pink yarn over here. At this point, it's fairly simple, really. All you're going to do is in the back loops only. Again, Simon says in the back loops only, you're just going to slip stitch in each stitch. And it should look like this when you're done. Now, notice I actually did not slip stitch into that last stitch. That's because the last stitch that we're going to be making is going to be, we're going to be changing colors from this too. So it's important that we don't do that last stitch because it's a slip stitch. Basically, you're going to stick your hook in, attach your last color, and then pull through. So that way you not only have a slip stitch as your last stitch in pink, but that way you're going to be able to start your next stitch in purple. Last round, final round, we are going to slip stitch in the next 7 stitches. So in the back loops only. I forgot to say, whoopsie. Simon says and all. But anywho, we're gonna, and this is my 7th stitch, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Great. It should be towards the middle of the piece almost. Now, this is going to be the part that goes around the neck on the bottom half of the llama. So because of that, we're going to chain. Oops. We're going to chain 11. Sorry about that. We're going to chain 11. And then you're going to slip stitch into that next stitch. Hooray. And now you're going to slip stitch around the entirety in the back loops only, still, Simon says, of the pattern. And then once you're done, it should look something like this. This is how it looks. I know that one side may look a little wonky than the other just because that's how it looks when you change colors amongst crocheting and around, but that's okay. That is pretty much essentially how the saddle is made. Fasten off, and I'm actually going to fasten off by chaining. I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch just so that it looks more uniform, and then fasten off. Pull that tight, and there you have it, a saddle and all these loose straggly ends. Similar to what I said before, you are going to tie them all together and then burn them. Burn every single edge. I'm going to do that off camera. So I did not, in fact, do them off of camera, but please pretend that I did, because honestly, I'm too lazy to get up, go downstairs, get a lighter, come back upstairs, burn things, and then put the lighter back. But it should look something like this. It should also curve in a little bit because it's really vital for it to sit curved on the llama's back. Now we have all the pieces we need to assemble this llama. Time to truly assemble. Let me scroll up a little bit. Now, the first part you have to put on is the saddle. Put this part around the llama's head. I know you're probably going to accidentally crush it, but don't worry, you can fix it later. And then bring it down and all the way down until it hits the bottom of the neck. Then adjust the saddle. Pretend that this is like not sticking out. Adjust the saddle set. It's just nicely sitting on the top of the back of the llama. It should again look something like this. I'm going to turn around so that you don't see that straggly end. Next part, you're going to take the smaller part of the figure 8, which I guess it doesn't technically matter. You might not be able to tell, but this is the smaller circle. You're going to place that over the head. And place it just underneath the head. Then I'm going to move this over, just like so. The final part, and this is where you can start like squishing it back to where it should be, is to put the nose part right over the nose. Like so. Just like that. And there you have it, folks. That is pretty much the base of the pattern, the entire llama from start to finish. The only thing that we need to add now is eyes. It's best to place safety eyes on round 21 of the llama's head. Make sure that they are 8 stitches apart. But that is what it should really look like. Let's talk about sewing eyes. Now, for the eyes, I always use my finger to make sure I know exactly where I want to place them before I even start, because Lord knows we do not want to just do all this work just to redo it again. I'm going to crochet the eyes, sew the eyes around this stitch right here. I'm going to see if I can bring it closer. Oh, no, I can't. Sorry, guys. I'm going to stick my needle on top, bring it over, and then I'm going to stick my needle under and above that stitch in that same place that we had it before, except I didn't do that because whoopsie daisy. And you're going to keep doing it in that same area, but don't pull too tight. Make sure that as you're doing this, you are letting it fall next to each other so that the eye will be nice and round. See, notice that as I'm continuing to go and essentially whip stitch in the same area, I am just letting the yarn fall where it is and adjusting it ever so slightly. You don't have to pull too much because it should really just drape around itself. Then I'm going to stick my hook needle, I keep saying that, my bad, onto the side like so, pull, and then I'm going to stick my needle right on the side of the eye that we just made. And then I'm going to pull as well. And I should have an eyelash. Now, the next part's fairly simple as well. Put some white yarn on your needle, and you're going to go ahead and stick your needle on the right-hand corner of your eye. Notice that I'm trying to stick it through one of the stitches of the eye and not necessarily on the outside, or else it's not really going to be seen as much. Then stick your needle into that same stitch and then just place it anywhere. Here's the tricky part. Pull until there's only a little bit left. If you pull too much, you're not going to be able to see it. If you pull too little, it'll just look like, see, this is what it looks like when I pull too much. It's in danger of now disappearing and going away with the tension and pulling that people tend to do at plushies. If you pull it too little, if you pull it too little, it'll just look like a loop that's just sticking out, and we don't want that either. And that is essentially how you make the eyes. It's really simple, but it does take a bit of practice to get it looking, nice and cute and all. Don't worry. Luckily for you, this is not going to be too much to practice on with tinier plushies. So it's pretty forgiving. But with that being said, with these two adorable, well, you probably just have one, but I ended up with two adorable Pinata Llamas. Thank you for watching this entire tutorial. This was way shorter than my sheep tutorial, and honestly, I'm so relieved because that was a lot to edit. But this one ended up, I like these more than the sheeps, but tell me which one is your favorite and what tutorials that you would like to see next. I already have a couple planned for the month, but I can add a couple here and there based on user requests. Now I have a llama family. Aw, they're so cute. Let me know how yours looks like if you ended up making these on Instagram at Crafting and Glory, because YouTube won't let me see your things, obviously. And if you want more free patterns and other tutorials, you can head over to my YouTube channel where I have one tutorial, but that's okay, because I also have plenty, about 8 free patterns on my Instagram as well. What should we name them? I don't know. I'm not really sure. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. It was a long one, but it's a goodie. And if you watched this entire thing and you can't crochet, first of all, wow. Thank you. Take care, guys. Drink water. I had a coffee at the beginning of this video. This is how much coffee I've left. I was just so engulfed into making this for you guys that I literally forgot to drink coffee. But stay safe, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.